I support.
I support.
I support.
I support.
I support.
I support Make a Difference.
I Support is brought to you by Sari Honda.
Welcome to another episode of Close Look, and today we are going to be talking to a very pleasant person, inspiring personality. I have been watching him for the longest time, and today I got, I think, very lucky, and we are in his presence, and I would like to introduce him a little bit before I can say hello to him. He is a world-renowned spiritual leader and an interfaith activist, and he's also a leader, a prominent leader of Sikhi way of life. He is Harinam Singh Khalsa ji. Let's welcome him.
Hello, Jiva Khalsa.
Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I am so honored. I think it's a divine flow of some kind that on the 550th Gurpurb, I get to sit with this beautiful human being who's had a very interesting life, like I was discussing with you, which I will be sharing with the audience as well. So on this special occasion, I want to talk about Guru Nanak Dev Ji and his teachings, which you have been promoting for the longest time.
Yes.
And because this Close Look, the program that we do is geared towards the youth, towards the younger generation, and towards all of us or people who are interested in other religions or other teachings. So, and I also know that you are very well known everywhere, and you have a lot of presence on social media. There's, it's not like the back times when when you had to find somebody and you would not be able to get a hold of information, but it's easy now.
Yes.
So, I have lots of questions. But my first question to you is, because I think, and I hope, the younger generation is watching. When I was a younger person, my younger self, and I had questions, I had no one to turn to. And I think it's still a little bit the same, except that we have Google, we have internet.
Yes.
So if people have questions about spirituality, about religion, how do we address that from your perspective?
Well, I think it's important to understand what you want. Every person, each of us has a destiny. Destiny is that destination. We may take on different faiths, we may take on different practices, different channels of that faith. But each and every one of us has a destination of understanding, of reaching out and becoming. And every human being, and this is what Guru Nanak Dev Ji taught, that every human being has that right of life of being able to go and establish their own sense of their reality and the sense of their beauty. And this is, for today, especially our young people are very aware, very much alert, and very sensitive. This is the age of the sensory being. So every person has a right and a choice to decide how they want to live their life, how they want to achieve that destination and find that destination. But there's also an understanding that we live in not just this one physical body, that we're actually a part of a much greater, we say there's 10 spiritual bodies, there's 10 different understandings within each of us in that sensitivity. We have a soul body, pranic bodies, mental bodies, auric body, radiant body. We have all these different parts of us to feel and to experience. And what I learned from a young age, and then coming to the feet of the Guru, was that in order to expand myself, I had to take myself out of a simplistic way of being to see that every human being, including myself, including you, has that deep potential within them.
Simplistic way, or that's what you think. But I think we are very complicated as human beings because of so much of information coming to us. So, like I was talking to you before we got into this interview, that some people are born in a religion, like I'm born in a Sikh religion, and you were born in another faith, and then there's so many ways or so many paths, and I don't think there's any right or wrong path. Right? The thing is, how do we access our own spirituality? So what is spirituality, first of all? What is spirituality? If some kid or somebody asked me what
Yes.
is spirituality, Shelly,
Mhm.
I would give an answer like which I've read or experienced from my little limited mind. But you have been on this path for so long. What is spirituality?
Well, when I say simplistic, I see spirituality as nothing more than the actualization of your spirit.
Yes, but you say that. But do I understand that actualization of your own?
Spirit. That you within yourself
Mhm.
have so much potential, so much within. You know, we all say, I want to be enlightened, I want to be enlightened. Guru Nanak Dev Ji said every single person is enlightened,
Mhm.
but we don't believe it.
We don't believe it
We don't
because
believe it.
because we don't think it's so simple.
Right. But the actualization of the spirit is to recognize that you're not just a human being
Mhm.
who has been brought to this planet at this time to find my spirituality, but reality is that you're a spiritual being
Yeah.
who was brought to this planet to experience this human form.
So this is so powerful that we are actually in light. We are in light.
Yes.
We are enlightened beings,
Yeah, we are.
right? So when Gautam Buddha or some other people, even let me just put it like bring it down very on a human experience
Yes.
level. My mom or other people her age, or all the people who I meet in the Gurdwara, like they think God is external.
Yes.
There's an external force somewhere.
Right.
We have to go bow down to Him. If we don't do those rituals, we don't do this, we don't do that, that entity or that power is going to punish us. So we are actually in fear.
Right.
So religion, when the younger generation looks at us, and I think that is one of the main reasons that when their parents or somebody says, okay, let's go to the Gurdwara or let's go to the temple or church or wherever, they'll be like, no,
Mm-hmm.
because a fear comes out.
Mm-hmm.
So religion is associated with fear.
Yes.
So how do we kind of take that as a challenge or work around it?
Well, it depends, you know, on how you feel within yourself. The Judeo-Christian belief system, what you were trained in,
Yeah, well, that's the
Right.
training, the conditioning. Yeah.
teaches us that God is outside.
Mhm.
For example, Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, hey, wait a second, no, that's not true. He said, God lives within each of us, and everybody can experience that God.
Mhm.
What is God? Is G-O-D, generates, organizes, and delivers.
Wow.
So it didn't say delivered to Sikhism, delivered to Christianity, delivered to Muslimism, delivered to Hinduism. It says no, it generates, organizes, and delivers.
Delivers.
Makes something happen,
Uh-huh.
puts it together, and sends it out. We're creatures that were created by some creator. I didn't create myself, something created.
Yeah.
And we want to honor that creator
Mhm.
who created this creation that gave within us. What is a human? Is two words, hue and mon.
Mhm.
What is hue? Hue, H-U-E, means what? Means a radiance. You look at the
Radiance,
sun,
yeah.
right? And mon means mind, being.
Mind.
So what
mind,
is, so
yeah.
human means? Radiant being?
Oh,
Is,
my
is in the
God.
word?
It's in the word.
Is in the
right?
word.
It's in the word.
We're human beings. We're radiant souls. We are meant to be radiant, not to be, oh, I can't, I shouldn't, no, don't touch me. We're meant to be radiant and to come out, but we don't have an understanding of how to exist in that way in this society because it's not taught to us.
Why are we so lost? Like, if we were born like that,
Mhm.
and it's all there in the Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and
Mhm.
Guru Nanak Dev Ji has been telling us,
Yes.
teaching us, why are we so lost?
Well, because we don't believe. We don't trust, we don't believe, we have doubt, we have fear. Remember, Guru talks about the 4 different ages, Sat Yuga and Treta and Dwapar and the Kali Yuga, the Dark Age, right? That through these different ages of time, humanity lost that sense of their own truth, right? And now your generations want to come back to that truth, want to come back, what do I feel? You know, I never remembered when I was a child that I ever heard any parental figure ever say to me, well, how do you feel about that, right? but look at our kids. Oh, how you feeling, son? Oh, how do you feel? Oh, well, can I, we're
Yes.
different. I say, thank God I had neurotic parents, because maybe I'm a little less neurotic with mine. Maybe they'll be a little less neurotic with theirs, But we're not really given that guidance. I searched and searched for that guidance. Maybe now I call myself sick, but I didn't change my religion. I didn't go, oh, I'm going to find a new religion now. I don't like the old one. No, I was looking for something that balanced me. I am who I am culturally. I can't change that.
Yeah,
I
that's
grew in
true.
a certain way. I was raised. But this has enhanced my personal understanding to walk a path of my spirit. Many people come to me and say, oh, Babaji, where's my path? I says, tell me my path. I said, no, path is yours already there for you. I can't give you that. Your path is already there for you. You just have to see it, believe it, and walk upon it, and trust it in the truth of your heart to make it become a reality for
Yes.
you,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Now that's why we search these teachings and that teaching and read this book, and we wanted this self-help, and 10 ways to be success, and 15 ways I should find myself, 20 ways I should learn how to something, I don't know, read from Guru Granth Sahib, take the Vedas, Puranas, I don't care, or the Quran, take Bible, take what you want to take, right? But find yourself within that gives you, I'm a freedom fighter, right? I learned that I should not become a question, I should become an answer.
Answer, yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's what Khalsa is.
Yeah.
Khalsa is not being the question, but becoming an answer. And learning how, but to that, I had to go through this self-purging, this self-understanding. I'm still dealing with my past fears, that stuff that happened as a child. It's still in the subconscious and unconscious mind. It took me 15 years of meditation to get rid of that voice of my mother and grandmother that said, you won't become anybody, you won't be anything, everything you touch you break, those past things, right? And I've been meditating, 50 plus years.
Wow.
You should have seen me 50 years ago. But, I've been doing yoga 42 years, long, long time before any of this was popular. We spread yoga through Canada. And what is yoga? Your own greatness assured, right? It's simple.
Yeah, so simple, yeah, there you go.
Right? So, not because I want to be yogi or something, oh, look, he's such a spiritual guy, this and that. To this day, I don't say anything. I just wanted to become a better person. And it tuned into it at a very young age, before the age of 10. Because at 10 years old, I had this vision. I said, you're just a person in history. Not that anybody would know me in history. I just said, no, this isn't, I was 10 years old, 1962. And I said to myself, I was saying, you know what? You're only a person in history, right? That somehow, will travel and was born in this place, might go to that place. But you're only traveling through history. Now, whether I'd make an impact or not, I didn't realize it, that didn't come to my mind. I should be anybody but who I am. But that quest for universal truth started very young in me. So when I came to the teachings of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, when I came to the feet of the Guru, when I started reading, because I was searching for universal truth, because I wanted everybody to be accepted.
Yeah.
Everybody should be accepted. And the banner of Ek Onkar means what? God and me and God are one.
Coming back to the question of talking about the youth.
Yes.
So, like youth, they have a lot of questions, like we just discussed.
Yes.
How right you think it is to not be afraid of asking? Even if, let's say, we went to the temple, or we went to the Gurdwara, or at home, how all right it is to ask questions about your religion, about your spirituality, about the stuff that you go, the more information is out there in these days,
Yes.
more confusion is also there. So they're both on the same spectrum. So how do we choose, especially for the youth? Like you said, you were talking about the discipline. The discipline
Yes.
is important. There are a lot of people who go to the gyms. That is discipline. There are a lot of people who do a lot of other things, but still mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, there is a disconnect. So if there was youth watching me, or there were people who were watching me, and they were like, okay, how do we access our spirituality?
Yes.
Is it okay to ask questions. What is right spirituality? What is wrong spirituality? What is religion? How are they all interconnected? Because when, like we said, religion brings fear. So how do we handle all this?
Well, the understanding today is that I hear from a lot of our younger generation, including our own children, is that they don't necessarily want religion.
Yes.
They want spirituality.
They want spirituality.
Religion was formed, the root word of religion is reality. So religion was formed in order to interpret reality. But unfortunately today, there's no reality in religion. So, a lot of the young people, they turn against it, but they want to find spirituality. And some want to find it within their Sikh faith, or they may want to find it within their Muslim faith, or they may want to find it in their Hindu or their Judaism or Christianity. May want to find that within that, right? But mostly they want to be able to realize their spirit, to feel that they're connected. Spirituality just gives us a connection to a much greater force of energy that exists through us, that we're part of a vast universe. Guru Nanak Dev Ji talks about, you read in Japji Saipat, that there's universes beyond universes, beyond universes, solar systems, beyond solar systems. And when that opens the vastness of our awareness, and the younger people, and your younger generation, are much more open to that vastness of their own thought. Our children ask us questions we can't answer.
We cannot.
They have visions that you don't know, where did that come from? They say things like, what? And they're like 3 years old, right? What? Because they're so sensitive to those life forces and life flow. The beauty about what drew me to Guru Nanak Dev Ji, to his feet and to the feet of the Guru Granth Sahib Ji, was because, I was always known as a very independent and free thinker. So when I all of a sudden put the star on, Gurta, everything, people like, did he go crazy? He joined some kind of... And I said, no, it's all a science. Because what I wanted was that if there was ever a part, let's say within Sikhi or what I've learned through Guru Nanak Dev Ji, what I've learned through the Gurus, to ever stop me and say, okay, you can only go this far, right? And then somebody has to take you to that place. And somebody
exactly.
But Guru Nanak said, no, he said, everything is open. I said, okay, I'm in. Right?
Yeah, but when we look at our Guru Granth Sahib Ji or other holy books or holy scriptures, the way things are written in it, it's kind of complicated. It's not easy. I mean, it may be easy for the people who understand, but for a regular person like me, it's intimidating.
Okay.
So how do we understand, if we take the English version of it, like let's say a translated version, I think the meaning is lost in between, or how do we access to the right translation, or should we just meditate and have that cosmic information flow into us? Like, what do we do?
Well, one thing you can do is every day we take a Hukamnama here, and then I send it out on WhatsApp, and I put a graphic of the Hukamnama in English and in the Gurumukhi, and then I explain it. So, so it has some relevance. The thing is that, the English, especially most of the translations, are very much kind of in a very sort of old English.
By the book
kind of way.
Google translations,
Yeah, very Judeo-Christian kind of way of into hell and the sinner and,
yes.
this and that. But at least it gives the basic, until so I know enough Gurumukhi that I can read the Gurumukhi. I can see where the English is not right or where it's trying its best it can. And I always say, well, if you get 80% of the value of it, at least there's something that you get there. One way that I look at things is I let my heart do my talking, I let my soul do my walking.
I like that.
Because this head of ours, we get so much into our head and everything with the TVs and the computers, everything. We're all in our head. It's all from the head, till we get those headaches, right?
Yeah.
So, when we take that head, because you can bring the head to the heart. You can't take your heart up to your head. It doesn't work, right? So the first step is, that when I teach and I say, start relaxing, get into your heart, feel it. Feel where you are inside of yourself. Let yourself expand that out. There's so much in our subconscious and unconscious mind that's being triggered all the time.
All the time, yeah.
And when we get so much into our head, then there becomes that duality, right? That duality, when there's duality, there's no totality, right? So that duality happens within us, right? There's that dual person, we call it identical identity, right? There's the two of us. There's the one who's, sure, I'm going to do it, and not today, right? We're always fighting that identical identity that exists within us, right? One thing that drew me to these teachings was when Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, look at the light that lives, the Jyota, look at the light that lives in the heart of every soul.
Yeah.
What if we start seeing through those eyes? That if I look at you, I see through eyes of love. I don't see a difference. And if you see through eyes of love, there'll always be love in your eyes. Is a simple way of understanding.
But it's hard to get there.
It was only hard if you make it hard. We make it hard because of our fears. Because why? Because you've been abandoned, you've been abused, you've been let go, you gave your trust and were betrayed. So we live with these betrayals, these mistrusts, these, as childhood, our love was taken from us and given, as men we have mother phobias, women have father phobias, we have all these different things we deal with. But at some point, Manjit Jagajit, conquer the mind, conquer the world, right, is written, right? So how do we work ourselves out of that situation, right? Because we, in my years of counseling and working, I find you can't get rid of that, right?
So
Because
it's just accept it, acknowledge it,
manage it.
manage it.
How?
That's a very
Manage
good way.
it. How? Well, then you have your meditation, you have Bad, you've got scripture, you've got devotion, there's so much out there now, men's groups, women's group, this group, that group, this yoga, that thing, this exercise, Pilates, this, you name it, is there, all right? Everything can be there if you want to find it within yourself, right? And if you're born in Sikh family, I'm not saying be disrespectful to that, nay, be respectful to that. Be respectful to our parents, be respectful to everyone. But also, you have a legitimate right to say how you feel.
Absolutely.
We have two things. We have traditional assumptions, we have legitimate rights. A traditional assumption is, you're a woman, you should just sit down, not be heard, you don't have a voice and don't say anything.
Yeah.
And and if you're in an abusive relation, don't rock the boat, right?
Oh yeah, so
Right?
true.
So that's an assumption.
That's an assumption, yeah.
But legitimately, you have a right to get out of an abusive situation, to voice how you feel, to say what you mean in a respectful way, and to acknowledge yourself. So what does this start? Acknowledge yourself. And change my experience through my years of work. A person will never change until they decide to make that change. Either a wake-up call comes, an alarm goes off, you have a physical thing that happens, mentally something happens, this breakup happens, right? And that bell rings, that alarm goes off, that you say to yourself, I can no longer live this way.
Yeah.
That's it.
If somebody wanted to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
Well, Facebook, Harinam Singh Khalsa Canada. You can go there. We have Instagram, Harinam Singh Khalsa on Instagram. Those are the best ways of kind of communicating, sending messages. We have Sevadars who will answer those questions. We have requests, Charity Kalasik Sangat. I have the yoga, nunlotusyoga.com. You can send messages and email. So there's lots of ways of contacting and then seeing our schedule, being in touch with where I am and the things that we're doing. I'm here in the West Coast now. I'll be in the East Coast in a couple of weeks' time for several weeks out there.
Your strength and your weaknesses, and when you can manage that, when you can balance that, you are able to walk through life with your head high and ask questions. There are always answers. Thank you for watching Close Look.